Greetings, beautiful nerds. Welcome to our 15th episode. 15th episode with the Survivors of Ashcaleen, an intrepid band of trio of lovable anti-heroes turned heroes that are sojourning through the city of Brecca currently in the world of Odromia. Yes, 15th episode of this one-shot. I'm excited to continue this journey with this group of heroes as they encounter this world's many mysteries, uncover many of the challenges that they're all facing at the same time, and also dealing with the larger world-ending issue of what the hell is going on in Odromia. But who better to introduce themselves than our wonderful cast, starting with Jal.
Hello. Oh, wait a minute. I'm not ready. Hang on. Here we go. Yeah. Perfect. Hi, my name is Matt, also known as War-Torn Knight out there on the interwebs, and I have the wonderful pleasure of playing Jal Hord'n, Dow Genie-packed Warlock, and Eternal Problem for, well, everybody within a 100-mile radius.
Indeed. Neska.
Hi, I'm Taylor, also known as Virus05 on TikTok. I have the honor and privilege of playing Neska, the Way of Mercy Yuan team monk, and I'm here to have a good time.
Yes, indeed.
I'm so excited.
Hopefully. Ivar.
Hello, everybody. I am Victor, also known as Victor, the Story Weaver. I play Ivar, the paladin of the party, who has gone through various iterations of calling and duty, and currently is known or self-proclaimed Ivar the Vanquisher, because he just needs to teach a few people some lessons, and he's very eager to do that.
Indeed. And, of course, as always, I am your friendly neighborhood dungeon master, Andy, a.k.a. Mr.DanDyDM, and I can be found on my YouTube channel at Mr.DanDyDM, or on TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, on any of the social medias that you prefer. Also, Threads. Threads is a great place if you're a part of the TTRPG/D&D community. If you would like to find me there, you can also find a number of other people that are big in TTRPGs, some of whom you might see here. If you happen to come across this episode and you enjoy it, please consider catching some of the other shows I DM for, such as Shadows of Ashcaleen and my pirate show, Our Flag Means Doom. All of these shows take place within my homebrew world of Odromia, which, if you have been following this campaign or any of the others, you've begun to see some bleed over from one show to the next, and that's intentional because we are headed towards some big crossover moments, which you will no doubt see in the next couple of weeks. We do, of course, appreciate all of you who have liked and subscribed thus far. Really appreciate you all as we make our way past the 1,000 follower mark shortly. Hopefully hitting that 3,000 watch time sometime in the near future. Who knows if that'll ever happen. And now that we've got our introductions out of the way, let us dive into a brand new episode of The Survivors of Ashcaleen. Neska, you have witnessed your own birth. You have witnessed the battles that made your people what they are. This hardened, reclusive race deep within the Peshium wildlands. You have seen all of this unfold, all of these memories sort of mixed together. Some of these are your fathers, some of these are your mothers, some of these are all of these different people who have had some influence in your life. And it's like their influence has expanded and evolved and transcended so many things while also forming the person that you are. And it's in this moment, as you have, through the influence in this particular fight, you give your parents somehow the inspiration to name their child the name that you carry. And it is not lost on you how serious of a moment this is. And whether this is actually I physically went and like transcended the paradox of time travel and went back to the specific moment and named myself, or if this is just in your own mind making a correction, a change in your own narrative, in your own belief in yourself, and how you are actually choosing to perceive your people's story. And whether it needs to be a story that is full of bitterness and chaos and lies and skullduggery, or if it could be something more. If this journey with the survivors, and whether this journey and discovering your old mentor, Yanshu, and developing these relationships, whether that's the new narrative, whether that's the new story that perhaps could help change the Yuan-Ti people and make them see the world for what it is, which is bigger. Jal, this last session, we got to meet your patron for the first time. Took us like 14 episodes to finally meet your patron. They've just been allowing you to like throw out power, like it was, nobody's business. But for whatever reason, they never had anything to say about it. They were just like, cool. He's doing okay. But they said they spoke to you. They had a lot to say. They had a bunch of different things, a bunch of different voices they're using. Ivar, you have been along for this ride. In fact, for the majority of this story, you were, for better or worse, a victim of your own guilt, of your own demons that were dragging you in all these different directions, never to your benefit. And through the process of this journey, you met some people who were able to help you through the worst of it. Through thick and thin, they were there for you. Good humor, bad humor, shipwrecks, running through the streets of a foreign city, almost getting blown up, doing Andy's equivalent of Nightmare on Elm Street, or no, what is it? Friday the 13th? Whichever one Freddy Krueger's a part of. You've made it all this way, and through this process, you've gone through so many different names for yourself, names that fit how you identified. And as you have, in this moment, helped a friend deal with their own demons, deal with the demons that have plagued the Yuan-Ti people, now you get to sort of like see for the first time, the benefit in someone else. And it's not lost on you how significant this is. As we step away from the birthing room, as you all feel a sense of release, these demons, these devourers being vanquished, you feel Neska's mind just sort of breathe and let go of all that has happened to you in this space. And you all awaken in a small house in Brecca several days later. At least, judging by the amount of dust and judging by the well, yeah, we'll just leave it at dust. You guys weren't the most, well, actually, since you've arrived here, you were pretty fastidious in like your cleanliness. There were meals that were prepared here. There was washing that was done. You made it a little bit of a home, but in this moment, as you all awaken, you see there is dust everywhere. Like at least a week's worth of dust. You all have been inside Neska's mind, fighting for her survival for over a week. As you all pull yourselves together and you all sort of see that, you all see the dust that is just hanging heavy over everything. You look around. Everything else in the apartment or the house seems to be undisturbed. Your armor is where it should be. Neska, you are still tied. I believe you were still tied when we jumped in. The feeling of hunger is immediately upon you. You feel weak. For that, you all have 2 points of exhaustion.
There is such a thing as too much sleep.
Wow. You all awaken, you all see what you see, you look around, you feel this weakness and exhaustion come over you, and just this feeling of atrophy. Because you've basically been lying down for over a week. Without any nutrients, without any food. And you feel drained. As you look around the room, you also see Yanshu is there. Very weakly, he is pulling himself up to his feet. Neska, you are still tied to the chair. I will start with Jal. Jal, what do you do?
Oof, the options are endless. Jal is going to wake up, come to kind of look around, and let out a groan as he's trying to get muscles to move that haven't had to move for several days. Finally, like, kind of sits up. Do we have anything akin to a calendar or anything that could be keeping days?
You look around. The house was very sparse to begin with when you guys arrived. It had enough for one person that was living in it. But it does not seem to have anything that is a keeping of time.
He's gonna bring a hand up, kind of like rub at his forehead, and just kind of grunt and go, Ivar, I think we got fired. We no-showed at least twice. Good job anyway. Who has their uniforms as yellow? Jesus Christ.
That is the first thing you think. Not like, oh wow, man, that was a tumultuous series of like events that we just all went through and experienced. No, it's the
This is John Hord'n we're talking about.
That's what this economy will do to you. Even in a fantasy world.
Guys,
are you kidding me?
We didn't even show up on the first day.
I still have no gold. Of course, this is what I'm thinking.
Oh man.
Oh man.
Jaw will then struggle to his feet and start untying Neska, kind of giving her a nod of just like, how you doing, buddy?
Much better now. You can see
Well,
that the colors, it's like mostly human-esque face, but she's got sort of like black and red scales. They're pale, like they've diminished in color.
Neska, though you have been tied up for a week, and you haven't eaten, everything that you've gone through in this dream state, you still won. You still were victorious. And so you come out of it, yes, feeling all of the things your body is feeling, but you have this renewed sense of perspective, of focus. So I will say you have 1 point of exhaustion.
It's very generous. I will not argue.
Ivar, Jal has made this stunning revelation to you of the potential that perhaps we lost our jobs without ever showing up for day one.
it's gonna go on the resume of whatever name I gave a week ago. I can't remember what it was. I don't know if I gave my real name.
I don't think you did. I think I think visually for Ivar a week, at least for other people seeing him, there's definitely the scruff of his beard that he had shaved. Like that is something that grows pretty quickly on him. So that would be like a good way of seeing the comparison between like what he looked like before and after. And he hears Jal, and there's not even like a verbal response, is the groan of getting himself up with this exhaustion is equally a response to the physical exhaustion and Jal's first comment after this situation. So that groan is just like that. Just he's like, it speaks for itself. It's just that that's putting himself up. I think he has that moment where he stands up, or at least like goes to a seated position and goes to a knee and notices the dust on the ground. Intuitively, instinctively, just because the way that he casts, uses his divine sense to detect good and evil. Again, you can find any celestials, fiends, and undead within 60 feet that are not behind total cover. Just because that's just his way of like the moment that he realizes this much time has passed, knowing the fact that there is like a trap door that that leads to some very questionable places. The moment that all of that happens, that's where his mind is at. Is he's looking around to trying to gather his bearings in on the place to see if there's anything that looks out of place or if he recognizes anything, and then casting divine sense. As he like his immediate thing is alertness from the get-go.
Okay. When you cast divine sense, it's basically like you're casting out your sonar almost, and
Yeah.
you're just sort of like hitting with a ping. It does not turn up anything. There's no fiend, undead, celestial, or otherwise that is within the range of it. Which is comforting. There is sort of a just mentally just a relief.
He definitely will probably, as he hears Jal speaking to Neska, he will turn to look at Neska as he sees Jal untying her. And I think if Neska makes eye contact with him, there's this sort of, it's a very calm, like sort of unreadable expression, but he just kind of gives you a slight nod of acknowledgement of after what occurred.
She returns the nod, but it's deeper, much deeper than any sort of head nod she's given. Eyes are still visible, like it's not a full submission head nod, but it's definitely a lot more respectful than she's ever given.
I think after that, he will check on his mind in his mind with Val, to see how they are. Just kind of like trying to like sense them, like you're still there, you know.
It's so good to hear your voice. I, you were in there, and I know that you could hear part of me, but the other part of me that was out here was there was so much time, and I was so alone that I didn't know how to wake you up. I'm sorry.
It's all right, Val. We are here. Now, if you say that you were here during that time, the part of you that was out here, was there anything, did anything happen, anything of importance while we were gone?
No, nothing. You all were asleep. Nothing entered or appeared. At least I don't think so. Nothing escaped my notice.
Good. Good. I think there's work to do. Ivar is gonna attempt to stand up. I think that we're in the kitchen, so I think he's going to. I believe we did some grocery shopping at some point, or there were some.
We were given an
We
entire
were given-
pantry from
yeah.
our mysterious benefactor.
So I think that Ivar, very much his like on a man on a mission kind of behavior. He sort of like pushes himself to standing, immediately going to the pantry, looking for at least the most basic, like if there's bread, just something that he can grab and pass on, that is something that can very easily just like be consumed along with water. That's going to be the first thing he's going to reach for. He's going to basically grab it, see if it let's say that it's bread. He takes it first, has a moment of like blessing, a Minotaur blessing on it, passes it to Neska, passes a piece to Jal, takes a piece himself, grabs the water, does the same, and then he just kind of tells them, "We must recover, gather our strength, and then I believe we must find out what this city looks like. I am afraid of the time that has passed and what may have occurred in this time."
I agree. Come on, Neska.
No bread, no water for Yanshu. You can just give it to everyone else, and then you don't give it. I mean, I was there. What am I?
You see Ivar have a moment of like a double take. It's like, I'm going to blame it on the exhaustion. It has that moment of like, he just has a, "Forgive me, Yanshu." And he just kind of passes bread and water to Yanshu as well.
Yanshu
as he
takes it.
Yeah, he goes ahead. You can just see he sort of groans as he just takes a seat by the table, the kitchen table, and just quietly is just consuming this. His eyes are kind of looking out the window, whatever windows are within the area where they are, just wondering if there's anything he can see out the window that could be like, "Hey, is the city on fire now?" Or if there's a view. I think the trap door also is within view in the kitchen. So probably
I do believe that we covered it back up.
Yeah, so he probably would just
carpet,
like
table.
he probably would just have a glance toward it. It's like if the tape's covered again and everything, then it's fine.
You look out the window. Give me a perception check.
It's going to be a 14.
14.
First time rolling dice in so long. I'm so happy.
I know. On a 14, you look out the window and you see people walking the streets, It looks to be about middle of the afternoon. Daylight. It's very bright outside. But nothing seems to be amiss. At least from your perspective, sitting in the kitchen looking out the window.
Just outside the periphery of the window, though, the city is on fire.
Just a
It's a bunch of
massive conflagration.
just like trolls and like just like a whole thing.
Dragons come.
Dragons.
Miss
right.
O'Leary's cow knocking over lanterns everywhere. The Great
But
Chicago,
that one
the Great
view.
Brecca fire of 667
Pretty
PC.
much. Dante's Inferno minus the window range.
That's just pure blue skies and lollipops and rainbows everywhere.
It's a wallpaper. Somebody put on the outside. Yeah, that's the current.
During the time that Ivar was like getting food and water situated for everybody, Jal is not smart, but he remembers how to take care of his friends. So prioritizing Neska, but then also helping Yanshu brings them closer to the fireplace and lights it using prestidigitation. Because he does remember that they're cold-blooded and it's been a while. So he has to make sure that they get warm or else they're not going to recover. So
the fire is lit. Neska, you and Yanshu immediately just sort of like move together in front of the fire, and just the heat that radiates off of it penetrates your skin and it immediately warms you as you feel this warmth just sort of give your body life again. You are not 100% yet, but it feels amazing given how just like wiped you feel.
And knowing what Jar's doing, Neska will give another deep nod.
It'll take him a second before he does that back because he hasn't bowed to anybody since he served. So yeah, it's kind of a weird moment for him. And he's like, yeah, that's fine. And he goes and returns the bow and then proceeds to take whatever chunk of bread there is and shove the entire thing into his mouth.
Yeah, that sounds right. As you feast and eat and warm yourselves by the fire, Yanshu looks at you all and says, "So what do we do next? We just saved Neska's mind. Where do we go from here? Do we go back into the tunnels? Do we investigate more of the city? I know we've been under for a week, but we've only actually been in the city for maybe 3 days, 2 days, 3 days. I don't even know. Like, what is time?
Time is a weird soup.
Time is a weird soup.
Beat me by that much.
I think Ivar's going to speak his this thing where like his eyes are kind of like just looking at nothing toward the ceiling, toward the floors. It's just like chewing slowly, and he's just trying to think. And he goes, "We need to find a way to destroy that obsidian power. If what happened to Neska can happen at great scale, I don't wish to think what that will look like. Then again, we also know what our enemies are after, and I do not believe time is something that we can spare."
Ivar, give me a history check.
History, you say?
You should be good at this. You're old.
Do I get advantage for having a scruffy beard right now? Okay, my dice
Maybe
don't like me today.
A white scruffy beard.
Yeah, do I get, like, can I have advantage because of the beard, or is it not?
I mean, I'll say I'll say I will give you advantage because this is something that you have intimate knowledge of.
Didn't really help much, but that's a 9.
Okay. In your weakened state right now, like all of the events are just sort of this muddled mass. A lot of these things are just not. You're trying to draw forth. You know that there's. You know that you're able to picture what a world would look like with these obsidian nightmare creatures suddenly walking around.
I guess I would probably make a connection to the visions of Neska's ancestors fighting the dwarves.
As you mull this over, Yanshu seems to be getting even more antsy by the fire. We have lost so much time. We don't even know, like, the enemies could be coming to knock down our door any second. What are we going to do? We don't even know where our friends are.
Yeah, let's get a baseline. And Jal is going to struggle to his feet and just start walking towards the door. And he's going to be like, I'm going to figure out how much time has passed and see if there's anything that people are buzzing about that may have happened in the past 12, 24, 72 hours, whatever it may be. I'll be right back. And he's
Joe?
just going to, yeah.
We're not rested, and the enemy knows who we are, but they may not know yet
just
of this
walking.
door.
Right.
Just be careful.
Careful is my middle name. And then he opens
No,
the
it's
door.
not.
No, it's not.
No, it's not.
Are you still dressed in the yellow guards? Like your new uniform?
I was thinking about that too.
Gearing up to go into Neska's mind, he would just be in his normal stuff.
Okay.
Okay. You exit the house, and you realize that the city is on fire. No, I'm just. You walk out the
Hold
house
it!
and realize
warm
that
today.
the city beyond the windows, beyond the view of the windows, is very much the same as what you viewed from inside the house. There are people milling about the city of Brecca. The economy of the city seems to be in the same state as when you left it. There does not seem, at this moment, of course, I could go talk to people, you could go and maybe see if you still have a job. You could start to move into other parts of the city that you've never been in. Yeah, again, you were only really here for 3 days, and you pretty much spent all of those days in one part of the city.
Yeah. Jal, so when we got this house and we decided that we were going to, start working in this city and see what we were doing, Jal did do a sweep around just to try to get a baseline of what was going on in the city and if there was any, buzzings going around. He's basically going to mimic that sweep, just kind of hit the same spots. He definitely is trying to figure out exactly how much time has passed. And then, he's not going to be able to do any, hardcore investigating right now, but just, if there's anything that's the talk of the town while he's walking around, he's trying to pay attention for that.
Got it. Okay. All right. As you, is there any particular direction that you're walking in?
Yes, but I don't know what it is, because I don't know exactly what path I would have taken the last time.
Okay, I threw up the map right there.
Right. We are in...
You're in the area known as the Shadow Way.
Shadow Way. That's numero 6 over yonder. I don't think that during my uh last sweep I went too far out of the Shadow Way. Let me see. The docks is close by. I probably would have gone through a little bit there.
I don't remember you going
Um,
all the way down to the docks.
Not no no. I mean, like there's a pretty big area here that is labeled number one, not the actual physical docks, but it's just
Oh, so
labeled
you mean
Demacia
the
dock.
the golden crescent?
Oh, that one. Yeah, that's what it was. I can't read. I'm colorblind as well. But yeah, probably just within there, not like going too far, first of all. Um, but anywhere where there's generally going to be a decent crowd of people.
Okay. Yes, the golden crescent. So as you move, we'll say you move west into away from the city gates, near the Shadowway, near the Yellow Cloak barracks. You move into further into the city towards the docks, but into the area known as the Golden Crescent. The Golden Crescent, I believe we stated it when you first arrived here. It is sort of this thriving, the economic hub of the city. Things are loaded off of the docks and loaded into the Golden Crescent, where things are sold and bought, and then distributed to be taken onto caravans that leave either through the Candles, or they leave the Shadow Way, or they head out through Sharktown. The going to many different parts along the coast of Suristir. As you make your way further into, how far are you going? Just asking.
I wouldn't go too far. We're not rested, and like I said, just trying to get like a baseline right now, not heavy investigation.
Okay. Um, are you asking anybody that you see about what's going on, or are you just
I would listen first. Not like eavesdrop listening, but like just like passing by listening.
okay?
Just like, and if I start to hear like the same thing, like, oh, this happened, or oh, did you, where were you when this happened? What did you hear about this happen? If the same story keeps popping up, then I might stop and ask somebody for some more information about that. But other than that, he's based. We're just casting a net at this point to see what we can grab.
Okay. As you just give me a investigation check. Just very
At disadvantage because we sleepy boy. It was a 19 and a 1. So yeah, investigation check.
as you
That's a total of 4.
as you walk down the streets, you almost are kind of stumbling, almost drunkenly, as you were just like trying to like push away the thoughts and feelings of just exhaustion. As you turn a corner, you nearly run a uh, into a very small gnome who who is, you're not even paying attention to where you're going, and suddenly there's this tiny gnome uh who is looking up at you. It's like, where are you going?
Oh,
What am I just am walking and you're walking. I understand you're not. Are you drunk, sir? Are you
oh,
drunk?
hey, listen, I wish I was. I just, I haven't been sleeping too well, bad dreams.
You look awful, lad.
Oh,
I don't mind
here,
me
let me see.
saying, but you're the you're the shitest looking human I think I've ever seen.
That means a lot coming
Uh,
from you.
this this gnome man has very long curled gray hair and black eyes and silky white skin. He stands about 3.5 feet tall, has an athletic build, has a very square but forgettable face. Also appears to move very lithely and nimbly on his feet. Um, uh, well, I'm sorry if I'm sorry you're so tired. You just look just a mess. Have you
Thank
eaten
you.
any? Are you, wait, are you one of those vagrants?
Oh, never. No. I had about half a loaf of bread a little while ago. We're gonna see if that peps me up.
Uh, Do you have gainful employment, lad?
Maybe.
What does that mean?
It remains to be seen. I gotta check in and see that. Like I said, it's been a rough couple days.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not a good look, but I'm being honest with you, buddy.
Well, my wife is going to kill me for this. He like flicks you a gold coin. It's like, well, I hope things get better for you. Just watch where you're going. And he just like proceeds on the path. You just realize you got mistaken
Just
for a homeless person.
just kind of looking, and he just looks back and forth and he goes, thanks. And he looks down because it's the first time that he's hold a gold piece in weeks. Wow, how the mighty have fallen.
Well, this is happening. Neska, you and Yanshu are sufficiently warmed up by the fire. And Yanshu just looks at you and just is like, Neska, are you okay? After all of the things that you saw, things we both witnessed, are you going to be okay?
Yes. I do not believe I have any other choice. And thank you for your help.
Of course. Anything I can.
And yours. And yours, Ivar.
You see, Ivar is actually has been sort of going to all the different window locations around the house, sort of like taking moments to look. He hears the things, looks your way, gives another nod. Well, as Yanshu said, we have lost much time. I think it would be wise for some of us to rest. If you do desire, you can rest first. I will keep watch until Jal returns.
Throughout this time, Neska will be holding on Shu's hand, trying to keep him calm and just reassure him physically. But she also knows that both of them have been affected just that little bit more than she has. No. You two rest. I need to think on what I saw. On what was real and what was manipulated.
Okay.
You see that last statement sort of takes Ivar somewhere in his mind. You can see it through his eyes. The concept of what's real and what's not. And at first, when you said no, he was going to protest and insist. And then when you mentioned wanting to think about what you saw and then mention reality and what's not, he sort of nods this time just like a few times, and it seems to be more to himself than anything else. He approaches you. He puts a hand on your shoulder, and he sort of just says very quietly, as long as you do not forget who you are, whatever was real or was not will matter as much as who you remain today. And with that, he just sort of taps, "Let's go," and he moves to the kitchen, just sits down leaning against one of the walls on the ground. And there he just sort of sits quietly, where he'll probably do a little bit of prayer as he allows himself to doze off.
What are you saying in your prayer?
The light that ever is, and it shall always remain. I ask guidance of thee. Bring me strength, wisdom, and the might, so that we may endure what comes next. Not for me, but for them.
The prayer leaves your mouth. And you regain a point of exhaustion. You feel, which is a very comforting feeling considering you've been out of it for a week. You feel the faintest of presence, like pressing against your chest, alerting you to the fact that you are not forgotten. And you are still in favor. Yanshu curls up by the fire, and he falls immediately to sleep. Which is surprising, considering you've all been asleep for a week. But this is an intentional sleep, one that is much needed.
I would say that Ivar just takes a deep breath when he feels the touch, and that breath and that release is the thing that sort of allows him to relax into the rest.
Okay. John, I'm sorry, Neska, did you want to do something?
Neska was just going to acknowledge Ivar before he sat down that I can't forget who I am so long as I have friends to remind me. And then she'll put her cloak over Yonshu to ensure that he is still warm. Let Ivar settle down, and then if she could rearrange her clothing, she'll put her hair up in a bun, and then don her mask and just slip outside and try and inconspicuously just check around the block or around the house, make sure that there's no shady people standing outside actually watching. And then she'll crawl up onto the roof and just sit there in the sun so she has more of a view of what's coming and wait for Giles to come back.
Okay. Give me a perception check. There does not seem to be anyone or anything that is currently outside of the house, like looking like suspiciously. Give me an athletics check to get on top of the roof.
Not be acrobatic.
Sure, it's acrobatics.
Yay.
Some things never change.
Well, that's 10.
10. You do the weakest parkour you've done in your entire life, but you eventually manage to scramble up the side of the house and get on top of the roof. What is your passive perception?
13.
13. As your eyes sort of gaze out over the city, you see that the Midnight Citadel is glinting in the distance. The sun sort of like at times seems to be absorbing, but at other times it seems to be reflecting the light of the sun. It's almost like it's not something unusual necessarily. It's just like, oh, that's kind of what that building does because it's made of pure obsidian, or at least some material like it. As your eyes stretch out over the city, though, past the Midnight Citadel, you do see this large column of smoke coming from the Rainbow Crown.
Can I tell if it's like a building or if it's like a massive chimney or factory? Like,
if it was a massive chimney, there would be more direction for
Okay.
the smoke column, but it is what looks to be some kind of massive building fire that is taking place somewhere in the Rainbow, south of the Midnight Citadel, inside the area known as the Rainbow Crown. Or at least that portion of the city, because you've never been to the Rainbow Crown before.
I've never been there. Go back. The map, the Rainbow Crown 6. Okay, so it's south to us. Oh, I'm gonna how would I have any idea how long it would take me to walk there?
To walk from where you are?
Yeah.
Not knowing how to get there or, the way to go? Anywhere between an hour and 2 hours, probably.
I will stay put, but just... With my history of being a spy, I don't want this to hold my full attention. I don't want this to be a distraction, but it's definitely piqued my interest. I'm going to stay put and watch it, but also maintain vigilance of what's going on around us, if that makes sense. Like,
okay. I'll count this as like a watch for you.
Okay.
So give me another perception check.
So badly just like want to go and have a walk and meander, but oh, I rolled 2 17s. Perception again is a dirty 20.
Okay. You see the column of smoke. You hear the thing about this column of smoke is that it does not look like it is from a fresh, currently burning fire. Looks like this is a fire that is just releasing the last vestiges of its energy from a building that is pretty much burnt. At least that's the sense of what you get from what you're able to see. You also see that off to the west, towards the Demacia docks, you do see a wide array of yellow sailed vessels, ships that have the very noticeable sail of Charybdis Marauder vessels. There seems to be a growth of them currently in the bay in Brecca.
Taylor has forgotten what they are.
The Charybdis Marauders, you actually encountered the former leader of the Charybdis Marauders, Sophie Wolfsbane. She met a tragic end on the high seas of the Sea of Hilo, where she fell overboard during a massive storm and was taken by a beast of the deep, never to be seen again.
By us, at least.
She perished, or she was the leader, or ex-leader of the Charybdis Marauders. They are currently, obviously, under some kind of new leadership. And for whatever reason, they are not seeming to... this pirate clan seems to be gathering within the bay of one of the main ports in Surastir. Something that they are not known to do. Or at least that's what you would assume, given the fact that they're pirates. And there does seem to be some kind of governing body within the city of Brecca.
And climb down and back inside. I will leave as silently as I possibly can. I do not want to disturb Yonshu or Ivar's rest. And leave a note explaining what I've seen. And I would like to go to the docks, changing my appearance every couple of 100 feet or so. So like mask on, mask off, belt on, change to a scarf, hair up, hair down, like, and slipping in and out of the shadows, as often and as quickly as I can.
Okay. I would like for you to give me, actually, I would like for you to give me a stealth check.
Bloody exhaustion. Why am I doing this to myself? Oh, well. With disadvantage, that is still a 16.
Okay. While you may be exhausted, your senses might feel slightly dull by the week of just atrophy and way over resting. Something that you are not as a UNT. Your muscles are screaming at you right now, saying, "What the fuck did you do to me?" That does not diminish your level of skill and your level of perception and awareness of your surroundings. And as you move through the city, you move into the Golden Crescent, which is this hub of bazaars and stalls that are just selling all manner of goods. And you're moving through, and you're just sort of snagging things just off the stalls. Just sort of like you're doing what Sherlock Holmes did in like the second movie, where he's moving through and he's just like trailing Moriarty, and he's just like putting on like ash and like a false nose, and he's wrapping him in scarves and like putting a tie on, and then greasing a tooth. You are moving through the city very well, and people do not seem to be paying you the slightest bit of attention. In fact, most of them are just completely ignoring you, despite the fact that you seem to be like pilfering items from certain stalls. They do not seem to be looking for somebody who is doing that at this point. As you are moving through this particular bazaar, you hear just the sort of the voices and the rumors and some of the chatter that is happening, and you. How bizarre! How bizarre! Anyway, you hear some of the merchants in the stalls just saying, "Did you hear? They burned it down. They burned it down." Yes, I did hear that. Yes, they burned down the Silk Sensations. What a loss! What an incredible loss to the city of Brecca. What it was a treasure. Lady Darcy she should have been given a key to the city, not have her establishment burned down. Did you hear? I heard there were demons. I heard there were a lot of demons everywhere. No, demons aren't real. No way. Not possible. What are you talking about, lad? There was a person who was killed in the market just a few days ago. She wasn't odd looking, but she was killed by a bunch of demons. Oh, but that wasn't. Wait, where did you hear that? That's just another rumor. You heard from Fat Tom over down at the. You leave Fat Tom out of this. He was speaking the truth. I saw it with my own eyes. There was a cat man, one of those tabaxi fellas, and he was there with a friend who was. She was bleeding flame out all over her body, and they cut her down. They cut her down. Just killed her right in the middle of the square. Well, sounds like she got what was coming to her. But then the Silk Sensations happens. The Silk Sensations. It was, we pride ourselves on being very progressive in this city and having, established places where ladies and gentlemen might go for a bit of, perfectly legal fun and uh, vice. Uh, it's gone. We don't have it anymore. Yeah, sure, there are other places around here, but they're not nearly as classy. Lady Darcy, she was always just the best. Her and that furball bartender and his partner, they were good people. I don't know why something like this would happen to them. Well, they must have attracted the wrong eyes. The wrong kind of attention. Maybe she just poked the bear a little too much. Yeah, I suppose that's possible, but I mean, well, I can't be chattering about all day, talking about burning buildings and people dying in the square. I'll go. I've got things to do and things to. I've got a lot of gloves to sell, so I'll just be on my way. And these two shopkeepers that you sort of hear them share this hot goss that is happening within the city of Brecca. There's another group of older women that Jal, you were actually passing by as you make your way through the city. And did you hear? No, what? There was my husband. He works the Shadowway Gate with those yellow cloaks. He saw the other day a bunch of fey folk making their way through the main gate. Yes, made their way through the main gate. There was a centaur there who was he was put on a cart. They were trying their best to hide him, but he was definitely a centaur. He came in with a bunch of other people from the Feywild, a bunch of Harengon fairy, a bunch of weirdo Fey people came in, and the next thing you know, they're taken up with that Tabaxi merchant family, the Six Clan. They're, shacking up with them. Seems that family's getting involved in a lot of weird stuff. Well, the Six Clan has always been very generous to the people of the city, and Matthew and Marisha, they're very good people. And them and their children, they've always done very nicely. And I will say, I always do enjoy going to their spice shop that they have in the Golden Crescent. Always a good time. Some of the best spices you've ever wanted to have. Well, they don't have a spot in the Golden Crescent anymore, not after what happened in the square that other day. Oh yes, I heard. Just vile things. Demons. Fighting, trying to kill two people. Thank God for that dwarf, though. That dwarf who came in at the last second. Sure, he wasn't able to save that woman, but that Tabaxi would surely be dead if he hadn't stepped in. What is happening to this city? This city's... It's gone to hell in a handbasket. Ivar, you spend the next 4 hours in your repose, and you awaken, or do you trance, or do you sleep?
I think, as far as I know, Kalashtar's sleep. They just don't dream. So, like, what they see instead are like memories from like the Quori and such. But
so
they still.
You do rest or sleep for 4 hours, and then you wake up and you look around. Yanshu's resting. You can hear him sort of breathing very quietly. And you look around and Charles not back. Neska's still gone. You heard the sound of clambering up to the roof sort of as you were in your slumber. Then you heard them clamber down, and they were didn't enter the house again. And you were just too tired to say or do anything about it. Neska, I'm going to ask you to... Actually, I'll ask Neska and Jal in this moment. Both of you give me perception checks.
Is this like a short rest, Andy?
9.
4.
Wow.
A disadvantage is killing me right now.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah.
As you are making your way through, you finally reach the docks, Neska. It is amazing how quickly there's certain parts of the city change architecturally, moving towards the docks. The docks probably being one of the oldest portions of the city, aside from the Midnight Citadel, of course. As you make your way through, you as you make your way down to the docks, and you got a 9, you turn the corner and you see the docks sort of laid out in front. And as you turn the corner, you very nearly sort of tumble into a rather, we'll say, conspicuous looking tiefling in a top hat. And he is wearing sort of very flamboyantly colored clothes. But you give me a history check, actually.
Oh, I think I remember who he is. History. I'm actually. Whoa, no, I'm not even going to bother rolling the second one. That was a nat 1 for total of 9.
Yeah. You know, you've seen this person before. There's something different about them.
What was
It
his
is
name?
so foggy. One thing I will say is that your memory of them is brief. And that's partly because you only very nearly saw their death. And it is a fleeting memory, but it's something very hard to place, but it is something that is so jarring in this moment. And you, as you're sort of realizing, and he sort of turns and it's like, "Oh, hello there. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump into you like that. Brun Wilkerson. Pleasure to make your acquaintance."
Likewise. And
Well,
totally fake facade. Like, my apologies. I got caught up in the hustle and bustle of the docks. It's rather exciting here.
are you trying to portray another race, or are you actually just doing a masked Yuan-Ti right now?
So Neska's mask sort of looks like a semi-dragonborn skull. So whenever she dons it, she kind of looks like a half dragonborn, half elf combo.
I see, okay.
So attempting to play a different race altogether.
Okay. Give me
trying to go with that disguise.
Give me a straight deception check.
Straight? Okay. Oh. 13.
13?
Yeah.
Yeah, he shakes your hand and says, "Oh, so have you heard some of the rumors of this city?"
Oh, I've heard some that there were demons running around. That sounds awful.
I know. Yes, strange things happening in this city. Things very unwelcome. Very strange indeed. I do not believe it bodes well. In fact, I'm in the process of trying to hire a ship to get aboard and make my way out of this city. I do not know you, but I advise you do the same.
Truly?
Yes, indeed. This city is, there's something dark that hangs over it. A think it would be in everyone's best. He raises his voice so that he's making sure that not just you are hearing.
Oh boy.
I'm sure it is in everyone's best interest to make haste from Brecca. Must leave this city with all speed. Dark things, foreboding things are on the horizon. We must all for our safety, for our loved ones' safety, we must all get away from Brecca. Anyway, madam, pleasure. And he tips the top hat to you. And then, in a flurry of hand motions, produces a bouquet of flowers and hands them to you. A parting gift from Brun Wilkerson, the most esteemed florist in all of Brecca. His voice changes as he says esteemed florist. And he gives you the flowers. And says, I wish you all the best. I hope that you do not find yourself on the wrong end of whatever is coming for this city. And then, ta-ta! And he turns away and proceeds to walk away. And as he walks away, it's very bizarre. Suddenly from behind you runs this tiny Loxodon child and a tiny Harengon child who follow Brun Wilkerson as he makes his way towards the docks.
Neither of the children touched me. They didn't pickpocket me.
Give me a perception check. See
okay. And okay. 14, 17. Nope. Yes. 17.
You realize in this moment, Neska, that while you do lack any kind of gold or finances, you are minus every single one of your darts. Oh, and a water skin.
Oh, no. Okay. I will remove those in a moment.
Neska, aren't your darts poisoned? Or am I dreaming that?
They're
What?
poisoned.
Oh no.
This
These
is not
kids
the
are
place for
running
me
with
to.
them.
Yeah. Neska hopes they trips and pricks themselves. Taylor doesn't. I want to make that abundantly clear.
Taylor does not wish harm to any small child.
Absolutely not. You also shouldn't run with darts or scissors or any sharp objects.
When
Let's
public
go.
service announcements from the survivors of Ashcaleen.
Yeah.
Hey, we're survivors for a reason.
Parents, do not let your children pilfer items from deadly monks who happen to be living through some severe emotional trauma.
Also, no Loxodon or Harengon children were harmed in the making of this episode.
Not yet, at least.
That we're aware of.
That we're
That we're
aware of.
aware of.
Here's
yeah.
the kicker.
Give it time.
There's no antidote. But in that flurry, like as he's like, oh, good day, she'll keep up her own facade and be like, oh, you're too kind. Thank you, good sir. And then look around sort of nervously and see what the rest of the crowd was doing after she's realized she's been pickpocketed. She's not going to chase them down. It's not worth the risk of exposure.
Okay. Brun Wilkerson vanishes into the crowd, as do the two children. The crowd itself does not seem to pay the loud proclamation any mind whatsoever. Continue to go about their business, business as usual. And you are able in this moment to look at the docks, and you see the unloading of quite a few yellow shirted pirate crew members upon the docks as they begin to push off some of the other dock workers and start to take up the posts that those dock workers had. It would appear that these Charybdis marauders are starting to take a more situated presence on the Demacia docks.
Okay, so one of the first tables I heard the conversations of demons and everything was selling gloves.
Yeah, one of the proprietors was selling gloves, yes.
I'm gonna go up to one of the marauders and keeping up the facade again. Good day to you, gentlemen. I seem to have gotten a little turned around. There was a glove store here, was there not? I can't seem to find it.
What kind of business? Who do you think? Why are you asking? Get out of here, woman.
Very sorry for any trouble, gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right.
And this guy, obviously, he has no idea what you're talking about. He's just looking really for any excuse to just be kind of just rude to people. Anybody who approaches this area of the docks. It looks like this group of Charybdis marauders are actually keeping people from leaving and getting on boats.
Looking at my abilities.
Meanwhile, while that is happening, Jal, you make your way further into the Golden Crescent. We'll say that you, at this point, you are getting close to the Demacia docks, but you're still pretty deep in the Crescent right now. You are closer to the area known as the Amethyst Worm, sort of right down at the edge of it.
I know what lies within the Amethyst Worm. I think that's a battle for another day. I think that this is the point the jaw would start turning around. Can't be caught that far out. That is too much. So he's going to start heading back. He's got some information. There was some goings on, apparently some demons. What he's trying to piece together as two people that he's seen before, and then a third that he doesn't have enough information to know that he's seen them before. That's as much as he knows. But so far, that's something to bring back.
Okay.
Demons in the streets, that's a big deal. So I would say on his way back, pretty much when he gets to the Shadowway, he's going to double back a few blocks to make sure he's not being followed.
Okay. Give me a perception check.
No! Just tell me that I did okay. So apparently double back for Jaw meant like literally stop and walk 7 paces back. He don't see nothing.
What'd you get?
That is with my modifier. Let me do the math. That's a 1.
That's your second one.
This disadvantage is murdering me. The other one was a 14.
What else can we do other than split the party? Let's split the party when we have 2 points of exhaustion.
I was trying to just kind of, do some loosey-goosey stuff. I didn't think that I was charged into anywhere terrible.
Indeed. You make your way back to the You just basically backtrack to the house. As you are backtracking to the house, you do see several yellow-cloaked guardsmen, the mercenary guards that you technically were hired by to do a job, and you were never reported for duty. You see several of them look at you as they walk by.
Oi! Do I know you?
You got
It
one of
depends
those
if you've ever-
faces. You look a
Do you
mite
think you
familiar.
punched me before? It's a very punchable face, I've been told.
I was about to say, you have a very, very punchable face, sir.
Yeah. You go around punching faces a lot?
I mean, when I have to.
Yeah. I don't think so.
Okay. Anyway, just be careful walking around the city. I mean, you look a bit drunk.
Nah, just, it's been a rough couple.
Hear that? Hear that? Yeah, I was just telling the boys here that after Duke Chiron was murdered in his house in Sharktown, I mean, it serves him right. Celebrating the murder of the amazing, incomparable Fatema Lux after she met a tragic end in the streets. Honestly, I got to see her one time. She was performing over at the Silk Sensations. It was a dream. And then she gets killed off like that in cold blood by a bunch of winged creatures. And then Duke Chiron sees fit to throw a celebration in the wake of her death. Bad luck. Well, boys and I were actually very happy about hearing that he had met an end. Murdered by a bunch of prostitutes. And their pimps.
Oh, wow. I actually didn't hear that part.
Yes. Murdered prostitutes and their pimps. And they were... I guess they did him in while they were riding him ferociously.
I mean, I can't say that that's got to be the worst way to go.
It looked like the worst way to go. Timothy over here, he was at the scene. He bore witness to the carnage, or at least what remained. His whole house was burned. Quite irreparably.
We're not going to get into why Timmy was at something like that, but okay, that's fine. But that's incredibly
Wait a
insane.
second. I recognize your face.
For what?
Wait, you were supposed to join our ranks just a week ago. You signed up with you and that, there was another fella that you were with. What gives?
I don't normally go with fellas. It's
You
it's just
know
not
what
me.
I mean? Don't you play stupid now?
Oh, it's
You were there
not
with a
playing.
friend of yours. Do you... Wait. So you were telling me that you decided to, what? Go on what appears to be a massive bender, and you don't show up to work?
Do I?
We've been dealing
look
with a lot of
like-
shit in this town.
Do I look like soldier material? The yellow cloak material to you?
Give me a
The
deception
green
check.
brings out my eyes. Right.
While you are doing this, you hear the voice of your patron in your head just being like,
Oh boy. This is not gonna go well. You're kind of weak, kind of a weak wuss right now.
I know that. Shut up.
who are you talking to?
Because that was internal. If he's
Oh.
talking in my head, I'm talking back in my head. Because of disadvantage, that is a total of 10.
Oh, God damn it. Just because I like you, I'm not going to use my Gen Con dice. That is a 19. He narrows his eyes. All right. All right, here's the lay of it. I recognize you. I know that you were there the other week when you were signing up, and you took a suit of armor, and your friend took a suit of armor, and then neither of you showed up for your post the next day, for training, for orientation, the whole lot. You didn't even get any of your swag, or your cards, or anything. It was you just completely you made off with some armor, and that will not do. And I'm sorry, but you're going to lead me back to your place of residence, and we will be collecting that armor, and we will also be, lads, get him. And the 4 other soldiers suddenly come around, and there's like
hands up, and he's like taking like slow steps back, but hands up, and he's just like, hey, come on, we don't
funny
listen.
business.
I'm not me funny business. That doesn't seem like me at all. I
listen,
just I think there's been a misunderstanding.
You green garbed
I
goblin,
can goblin.
Goblin? It's the best alliteration I could think of at the moment. Anyway,
right. I think that's
the lads are going to take
goblin.
you back. The lads are going to take you back to the barracks, and we will, after we've sweated you for a bit, to find your accomplice.
Can I just get 2 seconds for like a little bit? It's a wild story. You're not gonna believe it, but like it is the honest truth. I'm gonna telekinetic shove him. I need a strength saving throw from him.
That is a 15.
DC 16. He gets pushed 5 feet away. I'm gonna genie gift flight straight up in the
air. He falls 30 feet. You blast him into a large booth.
It's literally just like a green veneer over the front of him that just pushes forward as he then takes off.
It blasts him into the booth. He falls into this giant stall full of mangoes, and he's just like mango pieces just go flying everywhere. Some of them are obviously overripe. Some are like very hard, and he is knocked unconscious.
Are you sure it's not? Are you sure it's not cabbages?
My cabbages.
You see the others just sort of look on in awe as you suddenly like shoot up straight up into the sky. They all just sort of look down at their superior officer, and no, they're not going to give chase at all. They're just like, yeah, you're flying. We don't fly. And they proceed to go and help their commanding officer up.
Not waiting.
Out of the mangoes. They're like, oi, Captain, Wakey, you're covered in mango, sir.
There's an innuendo in there somewhere. I know it. As I'm just speeding up the distance.
As Jal speeds away, we will take a 5-minute break. And we're back. As Jal is flying through the air, I'm assuming you're headed back towards the house.
Towards the house, yes. Don't want to be a flying green beacon saying, hey, your enemies are here. So I will be landing away from the house and walking back.
Understood. At this point, it's been about 6 hours. You guys have made your way through the city, and you make your way back. Neska, you're trying to find a glove shop, I'm understanding?
No, it was an excuse to talk to the guards.
Oh, I see. Yeah. You leave them slightly perplexed. Like, you're on the docks. Why would you be asking them about a glove shop that's clearly from the area that you just came through? And why are you asking me, a pirate? I don't know anything about what you just said. And the last interaction that you have with that pirate is they sort of give you this look, and then they just forget about you. Are you doing anything else while you are out gallivanting about the city?
Yeah. Wait, let me go back up. Here, they penned it down. No, that was Giles' conversation. Oh, too many notes. I will go, if I have the time, to where was it? Not biscuits. Was it the Rainbow Crown that where the silk thingy was burned?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, cool. I'll see what shatter I can get from there because I'm relatively close-ish, I think. Because it was the dying remnants of the flames that I saw, so surely people would still be like fighting to put the flames out or clearing out some of the rubble now. Like there's still going to be some form of buzzing activity. Or is that where Joel went?
No, Joel went back home. He flew back home because he was like, I don't want to be seen.
Oh, yeah, but is that where he was? Sorry.
No, he was in the Golden Crescent.
Okay. Yeah, cool. Okay, so I will take myself to the Rainbow Crown to find out.
Are you still stealthing?
Absolutely, I am.
All right. At this point, yeah, give me another stealth check.
$11.
Okay. Yeah, you continue to make your way through the city. You head south, down past the Demacia docks, through the gardens that are around the Midnight Citadel. As you make your way through, the gardens are gorgeous this time of year. And as you continue through these gardens, I need you to give me a perception check.
13.
13.
No, hang on. Perception. No, hang on. 14. What is math? 14, 15, 16. Fuck.
Never
15. 15. Jesus, what happened to me there?
You've been asleep for a week, so it makes sense.
Yeah.
On a 15, you see something that chills you for a brief second, and you realize that they don't seem to see you yet. But one thing that you recognize as you walk through these gardens is a familiar figure. Not that music. This familiar figure, it frightens you, Neska, because this is a figure that you know shouldn't belong here. This is a figure from another, at least the one that you encountered. This is a figure that you saw in another time, in another place. This is a figure that you were able to fight atop a roof in a different Brecca. And you saw them meet their end at the hand of an ally, one Fatema Lux, and her trusty fire elemental known as Spitfire. And yet you see them sitting in the garden, staring at the Midnight Citadel.
Keeping up with disguises, I would have dropped the flowers or stashed them somewhere. I'll slow my pace right down and just start to admire the gardens, like smelling the roses, admiring what's around. sort of acting like a very vague, very blasé young woman just enjoying the afternoon slash evening and just side eyeing and trying to observe what they're doing. Inconspicuously try and get a little bit closer.
The thing that you recognize, the first thing that you recognize about them is the very odd and very standout nature of their hat. This hat is a very large hat with a wide brim that goes down over their face. And you see sort of the very beginnings of like green hair that sort of like tufts out underneath it. Their skin is pale white. And their eyes, one of them at least, is gold, while the other is a red color. They look something like this.
First of all, smash. What? I'm not getting any recollection of this dude. Like, just continue to slowly make her way closer, and is going to hum under her breath, hands clasped behind her back, just sort of skipping along, doing what he does.
As you sort of haphazardly make your way closer to him, you see him just turn his head, not looking at you directly. For someone who has as much training as you seem to have, you don't seem to be very good at it right now.
Or perhaps I wanted you to notice.
Perhaps. Huh. A yuan tea. Don't see many of you around these parts. What brings you to Brecca?
Visiting the sites.
Give me a deception check.
6.
He got a 6.
Otherwise, it would have been a dirty 20.
As you get close, your bearing is familiar. Do I know you?
Sorry, my what is very familiar?
Your bearing is familiar.
Well, I'm new to the area, so I don't see how I could be.
Interesting. Can't you see him sniff the air? Huh. I don't recognize your smell. Interesting. Something is off. Very perplexing. What brings you to Brecca?
I told you.
What's the real reason?
I was dropping off a friend. What would be
Your
your
friend?
reason for visiting this beautiful city? And I'm going to sit down next to him. Trying to keep it look like a casual conversation between two people.
You sit down next to him.
I'm going to regret this so much.
He doesn't change his posture in any way. So, dropping off a friend. So, I guess she made it home okay.
Yes.
My mistress thanks you
for your service. Just here to inquire. Might we enter into an arrangement?
I'm
Something-
listening.
Something mutually beneficial. Something that I believe your friends and you might require or need.
And what would that be?
Benefactor, patron, someone who has means to give you what you desire.
And what do I desire?
He just breathes. You feel him breathe through this moment, Neska. You want a way home. You want a way home, but not just for yourself. You feel his gaze on you is very piercing right now, Neska. You're far away from Ashcaleen now. But it seems that you've traded one fallen city for another. Or at least this one soon will follow the city of Ashcaleen. My benefactors are seeing to that presently. So, I'm here to offer you a deal. You see his face change, Neska. And you see it take on the face of an elf. And then the face of a Triton. And then the face of almost like a bugbear very briefly, but then changes back to the face of the changeling, the pure changeling.
And what would your mistress, your benefactors, gain from me?
Cooperation. Help. Doing away with the odd loose end right now. So we could definitely use someone with your skills. Someone who, might I say, bears many similarities to myself. Though I will say you do look a bit tired.
Yes, well, having a dream devourer possess you and rip apart your mind can take it out of a woman.
Ah. So you've been messing around with those nasties. Interesting. I would love to hear why. I would love to hear what put you in their path. Maybe another time. But consider this an opening offer. Tell your friends, see what their thoughts and feelings on the matter are, and then I will find you again.
Good evening, sir. I hope you enjoy the rest of your night. I'm gonna get up and skip away.
See you later. As you turn away, he takes on the guise of another human, an older man, walking in the direction of the Midnight Citadel. And he turns the corner and is lost to sight.
He is more snake than I am.
Jal, you make your way almost all the way back to the house. You land about a block away.
He's gonna pick a secluded alley, kind of something that he passed over, nobody's there. Drop down, let everything go dark, kind of, take a few deep breaths, look back and forth, making sure he's alone. He is going to take that solid 30 seconds to just like rest his back against the wall and just breathe for a moment before turning and walking out of the alleyway towards home base.
That's it. That's it, my boy. Definitely rest your head for a second.
Yeah, just one.
Capital
just one second.
suggestion.
It's about all we're gonna get, probably, until I get back and then I tell Ivar, hey, now it's your turn. I'm gonna take a nap.
Oh, that old man. I will say, he is a frightening person to be on the bad side of.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
You do remember that. So, Jal, what are we doing?
Saving the world one step at a time. Is that the big picture? I think small scale, taking a nap.
It always fascinates me how you humans perceive the world. How you boil things down.
Enlighten me.
Do you think this is a world worth saving?
In my experience, there's enough of it worth saving.
Interesting. In my experience, this world is a bit of a shithole.
Well, I can't say I disagree, but unfortunately, it's our shithole. We can just, do what we can to make it a little less shitty.
Oh. So, I've hitched my wagon with an idealist.
I'm not crazy about labels, but I guess that would work.
Do you think you can do it? Just the three of you?
Maybe not just. We've met a few friends.
Yes, you have, darling. So many friends. So many friends. Where are they now? Where are your friends?
That's a good question. I'll have to get back to you on that. Except for one of them heard where she is.
Oh, yes. Fatema. Poor dear. Stabbed through the chest by a demon blade.
Uh-huh.
Sounds like a dead friend.
Hey, how you know that?
I've been listening.
Nobody told me that she was stabbed through the chest by a demon blade.
Oh, I just assumed. You know, demons and blades. Stabbing.
Hmm.
Come on, Joel. What are you thinking now?
Andy? Jal didn't touch anything made of obsidian, did he?
No, he did not.
I moved some though.
Yes, but you didn't I don't believe you touched it with your hands.
Not with my hands.
You mage-handed things,
Uh-huh.
but you didn't touch anything directly. There was no direct skin contact whatsoever. You made very certain of that.
Did I store some in my ring? Or were we just talking about that?
I don't think so. I
Well,
think
if
you
DM doesn't think so, I'm gonna guess that's not a threat I can pull.
I don't think you stored anything in your ring. The only thing that's in your ring currently is the buried remains of
Right. Yeah.
Gahareth.
Yes.
And sometimes I think you slept in there or somebody slept in there.
Jell usually sleeps in there if he can. Um, just because he's that kind of person and there's pillows in there. So I have very little minimal suspicion then that it's my turn. Um, but something doesn't quite seem right. So to answer his question, why'd you give me this ring?
That is the question. It was a very, very good question.
And I would hope that there's a very good answer.
Well, what do you remember about the day you acquired this ring?
I I helped somebody who needed help, and I didn't ask for anything in return, but this is what I was given.
Yes, you did help us.
Who's us?
As you ask that question, Jaw, you are standing in the alley in a street next to your house in the city of Brecca. There is a pole. Suddenly you are walking in the middle of the desert. You look behind you, you see the city of Brecca far off in the distance. I need you to give me a perception check, a straight one. This is not a disadvantage.
Thank you. Four.
4. You see the city of Brecca behind you. There is something different about it. It is smaller. It's not as big as it's not as big as the city that you know. As you look off into the distance, past into the dunes, towards the area you know as the Candles, you see these massive, massive towers stretching up into the sky. What's your passive perception?
10.
10? What is, give me a history check.
Straight again?
Yep.
Now is the time. Tell me everything. Natural something.
You see, in the days of creation, when the gods were... No.
Jarl gets brought back, literally talking to Andy face to face. Well, this is about the world of a drone.
This is the former bearers of this ring. They were at one time a part of a very powerful and ancient group of mages. Mages who were known for studying within these massive towers. Towers that you know based off of what you have seen of the city of Brecca, what you have heard about it from your dwarven friend aboard the New Thunder Rule. You know that the desert had reclaimed these towers that you see before you now, and only the very barest tops of them are visible, which stands in direct contrast with the towers that you see before you now, leading you to believe that you are bearing witness to a time hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years ago. As you gaze up at the towers, you see a procession of white-robed individuals making their way into one of the towers. And you see that the moon above is almost at a full eclipse. Nanira. The name of the moon is Nanira. And you see this moon, which is almost at full eclipse, coming across the sun. Or the sun is almost eclipsed by the moon. And suddenly you feel a tap on your shoulder, and you see this bald-headed elf standing next to you. Given our proximity to this place, our powers have grown. We feel the connection once more. We feel the bearer is in a place where we may expound upon our history. He points off into the distance to one singular tower, and the thing that makes this an odd sight, Jal, is not only the size of the towers and the fact that the dunes are very far removed from them, but the fact that there are four. And you know that there, in the time that you were a part of, there is only three. And as you gaze at these, he gestures off to the fourth tower, and you see this procession of white-robed individuals making with a very steady clip inside as the moon suddenly comes into full eclipse of the sun. You're about to bear witness to a curse. A curse that our kind were not able to escape. You are witnessing the formation of a new order of our elected group. The Order of the Fading Tower. He points off in the position of the fourth tower, and as the moon is fully eclipsing the sun at this point, you see this massive, wrathful sandstorm off in the distance. And suddenly the tower flickers. I alone was left behind to carry this ring. He gestures at your hand, Jal. Till I could carry it no longer. And then I was to give my burden to someone else. Someone who I thought to be worthy. Purpose being is that all the souls aboard the fourth tower, all members of the Fading Tower, all members of the Order of the Fading Tower, reside in that ring. All of us are joined to you. No doubt you've wondered about the voices.
I kind of assumed you were just quirky, but this makes a little more sense.
I can see why you might think that, yes.
You have within this ring an order of cursed mages. Mages who sought knowledge. That building is not just some stone that grew out of the desert. It is not some stone that it fell to the desert. It was placed here for a reason, and that was to jail something.
In the shadows where the moonlight wanes, beware the names that stir chaos and pain. Two deities, infernal and abyssal, whose whispers herald doom and dismissal. Asmodeus, the Lord of the Nine, with cunning schemes and a dark design. And Pale Night, the mother of demons, whose wrath unfurls in nightmarish legions. Their names, a curse, their influence profound. Invoke them not, lest despair be found. May the stars guide you, the moonlight defend, for in their shadows all hope may end.
I'm going to do something uncharacteristic and be serious for a moment.
Don't pull a muscle.
You said that something was imprisoned in these towers, and now one of them is gone. So is something still imprisoned?
What was imprisoned was in the Midnight Citadel. The towers themselves were where we studied. We studied the inner workings, we studied the outward phenomena that was displayed upon the Midnight Citadel. Certain things that opened and closed. Portals would open. Many of our order would travel into these portals as they opened, and then some would return and some were not seen again.
And we witnessed, this is above table, we witnessed the Midnight Citadel specifically as a gateway, correct?
Yes, you did. We are men of knowledge and the acquiring of it. We did what came naturally to us. You're not wrong, though. It was to our ultimate doom. We became cursed. And our towers are now consumed by the desert of the Silent Mother. Taken once more. A price to pay. Thankfully, those of my order who were able to make it to the fourth tower, between all of us, managed to enact a spell which allowed our tower to fade from existence and move thither and yon amongst the plains. Never permanent, never in any precise location. Always moving in and out of time so as to evade the punishment that we all know and believe to be coming for us.
Jal's going to look up. Double checking that on the walk that I sort of got how much time actually passed. Jal should know the current day.
This
Close
day?
are we? Yeah, well,
Oh,
the
go
day when I was walking, before this dream sequence, or hallucinogenic experience. The day that we woke up, he knows what time or when it is now. He knows how much time has passed. He should know, I would hope, what day it actually is, so that he could try to figure out the answer to which moon is in in the sky.
Nanira.
So roughly how long would it be then until the next Nanarian eclipse?
Give me a history check.
Yeah, it's a 14.
14. You're not a man of science, Chal.
No.
But you, as an investigator, you've had to develop certain skills regarding patterns. And you do know that when you left Ashcaleen was several months ago. And you have been in the city for at least 10 days. Means the next Narian eclipse. It's probably in about 2 weeks. Maybe 3. You're not quite sure. But it's soon.
So then Jal, looking up at the eclipse, is going to ask, what's going to happen the next time that moon blocks out the sun?
You should already know that answer. You have seen what happens. I was there with you. I was present. We all were. With you when you had to make a choice to sacrifice another reality to save your own. Very big picture of you, Jal.
All right. Jal's going to adjust the ring on his finger, crack his knuckles, and look directly at Vidil. How do I stop it?
I don't know that you can.
Let me tell you what I can and can't do.
Okay. Enlighten me. Human, mortal.
You said that this is given from one bearer to the next. So that means somebody believes I should have this. Maybe it's something deep inside that none of us can see. Maybe it's some deed that was done in the past. Maybe it's the way that I charmingly part my hair. But there's a reason. And you can ask any of my former commanding officers. Don't tell me what's impossible, because I'm still here.
Tell me, John. What makes Brecca any different than Ashcaleen? You ran then. Why will this time be any different?
Ashcaleen was an ambush. Brecca's not going to be that. I'm not going to let what happened to Ashcaleen happen to any other city.
I believe you believe that. And I will say that, given everything you've been through, given all of that juicy, juicy character development you've been going through so much lately. You're a different person than the one that left with their tail tucked firmly between their legs in Ashcaleen. Yours has been an inward journey. You have fought everyone else's demons, and now it's time to face some of the demons that make you so very, very human. So, Jal, Hord'n, formerly Sergeant of the Red Guard, we hope you prove us wrong.
You can
Because it
count on it.
seems that the world, Odromia, the planes of existence, creation itself, hangs in the balance. And all we have, and by we I mean the Order of the Fading Tower, all we have is a lone figure in the shape of a human policeman to help us achieve a monumental task.
When do we start?
We've already started. Thank you for bringing us home. At this point, this bald elf dressed in the white robes of this mage order turns towards you, his eyes empty. No eyeballs, just empty sockets. At this point, the Dust Storm explodes off of the dunes, gathering a massive amount of sand that comes crashing down upon the towers known as the Candles, or you know to be the Candles. And suddenly it passes over the desert and suddenly comes crashing in around you, and you suddenly lose sight of your mage guide. And you hear just a whisper in your ear. Good luck. And the desert swallows you whole. And suddenly you are back in the alley behind your house. And you are coughing up sand from your mouth onto the ground in front of you.
Jal continues coughing, straightens himself back up. I'd imagine probably dust sand off of his shoulders and shakes it out of his robe. When he finally gets his breath back, and just kind of poshes up and looks to the house and says, "For the record, that wasn't no tail tucked between my legs." And then he starts walking.
You walk back inside the house. At this point, Jal, you see an awake Ivar. Yanshu is also awake. Yanshu looks at you. Where were you? We woke up and everybody was gone.
I'm sorry, Mom. I missed curfew. I won't do it again.
Where is Neska?
What the hell do you mean, where's Neska?
She's not here. And I'm going to say, I'm assuming because Neska said that she left a note. So I'm going to just raise the note in my hand and pass it over to Joel.
What does the note say? Went to the docks for flowers.
Pretty much. No, it'll say, oh my God, where is it? Saw large smoke from
Rainbow Crown.
the Rainbow Crown and the marauder ships gathering in the bay have gone sleuthing. We'll be back soon.
Well, when did you find this?
She said that? She said, gone sleuthing?
That's what it says here. You've been here this whole time. You didn't read it? Ivar, what are you doing? Come on, man. I mean, share your notes.
We just woke up.
Just woke. Well, you guys look pretty cozy for just waking up. You tell me that. Never mind.
Ivar, you no longer have any
Exhaustion?
points of exhaustion. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Do I see, or did I see any large column of smoke outside? I was in the air.
Oh, yes, you were in the air, but you were kind of like flying. You were not flying in the direction of the Rainbow Crown. And technically, from your vantage point, the Midnight Citadel would have been in between you and any kind of smoke that was rising. So you would not have had a good vantage point to see it.
I think at this point, if considering all the time that it's passed since like the waking up and then reading the note and realizing both Jalt and Neska haven't returned, one thing that Ivar would have attempted to do is basically see if he could find from the belongings of the former owner of this place. He would have looked to find some sort of like either long piece of cloth or like cape shawl thing, because he's basically just trying to find something that he can put basically with like a hole in the middle over his head, so it's just this like mantle that covers him, typical like anime hero that is like walking around with like this big cloak, and then if you were to like remove it, you see like the full armor and the weapon and everything underneath. Like he's basically just like trying to find that, like, and obviously, you know, he's happy that it is like rags, you know, he's basically like just trying to put himself these rags on him so that hopefully that will cover his armor and all the stuff and make his look a little less conspicuous. And at this point, probably he already has it on. He just has a moment where he just looks at Jal and says, "Did you find anything of importance?" Player has awareness of how loaded that question is.
Yeah. I found quite a few things while we were out brainstorming. We missed a supposed demon attack in the middle of the city. Actual literal demons in the city streets. And can pretty much confirm that that guy's 6, and then I think the Dwarven King were fighting them, and in the process, Fatema Lux died.
You just see Ivar's face sort of grow grim. When did this occur?
Andy, remind me. It's like
during the last week.
Not an exact date, just sometime during this last week. Now, you and I both saw how badass she was I was inclined to think that they were mistaken, but apparently the person responsible threw a fucking parade.
Ivar takes a deep breath. His left hand sort of moves to rest on his belt. And then he just has a moment. He feels a lot of compulsion that he reels back as he just goes, "We should try to find Neska. Yonshu. Perhaps if you go to the rooftop, you can help us spot anything useful before we wander off. If she's on the way back, we do not want to miss her."
It's very wise. Yes, I will do that. And he immediately jumps out of a window and begins to shimmy up the side of the building.
Ivar turns to Jal after that and he just goes, "Anything else?"
The guy got his comeuppance. Fatema has some friends. I'm gonna guess from that place that she mentioned, something about silk. I'm gonna guess that's where they were because I heard that it was prostitutes and pimps that got them. But we're probably 2 to 3 weeks from that other dimension experience that we had being a this dimension experience.
The portals?
Gonna happen during the eclipse.
What's the name of the villainous mobster family that we've been fighting?
Nightmares.
Nightmares. Whatever the Nightmares are planning, we will need to find out. However, something tells me, considering they know who we are at a disadvantage. And how we proceed carefully on this matter, I'm not sure I know the answer yet.
I think we need some friends.
Yeah. Perhaps more than friends. Perhaps a whole town, a whole city. Perhaps the fate of this place is bound to whether or not the people who dwell in it reside in darkness, of not knowing what could happen.
Andy, did we learn that the Nightmare... Wait, am I having a fever dream? The Nightmares have been looking for artifacts in the candles?
I don't think you have.
Or am I making that up?
I don't think that you know that.
Okay.
That is something that is above table, but present in other campaigns.
Oh. That's what I get for being a fan. Damn it.
I will say that I do remember that Ivar did share what he managed to see. I think it was with Fatema, when he was able to see what Lady Nightmare was doing with the book. When she
had artifacts, we didn't know where they came from.
She had the names that she was erasing on the book and all that stuff, which was actually why Ivar went down that tunnel, because he thought that maybe could lead to that location. So there's that book knowledge that I know that has been highlighted as potentially one of the big things that we want to keep in mind.
So right now, you know that there's the tunnel in this house, in the shadow way, that leads to a basement somewhere on the Nightmare estate, housing an army of dark obsidian warriors that within their armor houses a Dream Devourer,
or perhaps many Dream Devourers. You know that if that army was suddenly unleashed in the city of Brecca, it would be a literal nightmare.
Yeah.
You now know also that the time period with an Anirian eclipse is fast approaching, probably maybe a little bit more than 2 weeks away. Given what you've heard from your patrons, it sounds like what you saw in the alternate timeline, in an alternate world, in an alternate Brecca, could happen again. Portals opening up to another dimension. Given the curse that befell this fallen order of mages, and every Anirian eclipse, which only happens every so often, not frequently. It's not like an annual thing. There is an event where the Midnight Citadel has the potential to open, to let things through, or let a thing through.
As of now, just to do a bit of a recap, we are aware that, or are we aware? I think we are based on previous sessions. The obsidian that these things are made of is quite brittle.
Yes. You've been able to break it very easily in the past. But the problem is that when it breaks, it becomes not one solid piece, but many tiny, tiny pieces.
Right. Do we have knowledge as to what the chemical reactions of obsidian, like if I were to put fire near it, would it make it just like crack and break, or would it melt it?
It would make it crack and break.
But once it's broken and the oh wait, someone needs to be in contact with the obsidian.
Mhm.
Do we know from previous experience that the size of the shard is dependent on whether or not a Dream Devourer can possess it and then move and jump to a body?
You don't know that.
If we don't know that, okay.
I will say, though, the sword that Jal and Ivar shattered, the one that you stole from the little armory that was down in the basement, the two Dream Devourers that were inside you, in your mind, came from that one broken sword.
And that was just the sword. So imagine how many of them could potentially be in like the suits of armor that were lining the walls.
Yeah.
Mhm.
This was a weapon that was used effectively against the Yuan-Ti. Maybe not in this form, but was used with immense lethality. So much so that the Yuan-Ti shrank their entire empire so that they could not be found. Because they didn't want to run the risk of ever coming into contact with the things that the dwarves mistakenly let loose.
So,
Andy, I have a dumb question.
Hmm.
Can you describe to me the Midnight Citadel again?
Think of
It is obsidian, but think of the citadel looking like the Burj Khalifa in Dubai.
And when you say it's obsidian, is it obsidian looking, or do we know that it's obsidian?
Is it
It's
that
obsidian looking.
obsidian?
It's obsidian looking.
Yeah.
Um,
If the mages of the Fated Tower imprisoned this, and the prison was the Midnight Citadel, and the Midnight Citadel is obsidian, does that mean that these mages would have the knowledge of what, or at least some sort of base knowledge of what it takes to lock some demonic entity into this form?
You can certainly ask them.
Directly, because they are literally on my right hand. So if Jal does posit the question, is there a connection in the process of what you use to seal this evil into the Midnight Citadel as what the Nightmoors are doing to seal the Dream Devourers?
At first, there is no response. Then, like, it's almost, you feel like this immense pressure within the ring as suddenly you get the sense that there are voices that want to speak, but it's almost like they're having arguments within themselves. He's not ready. He's not ready. It's too much. Too much. Too much, you say? When are we going to ever trust this person? He is a bearer, after all. What do you mean? We've got to trust the lad. He's done right by us so far. He's carried us this far. Let's see if we can trust him with this. So this new piece of information. We did play a part. And that is why we are cursed. Very well. John?
Yes.
Take off the ring and place it on the table. We need to show you and your friends something. Or friend. Ivar is the only one in the room.
All right. He's going to, after standing there thinking for a little bit with his hand like this, he's going to kind of nod, look at Ivar, and go, "All right, buddy, ready for light show?" And he's going to set the ring down on the table and go, "Might I introduce Vidil Beziet?"
Ivar picks up his shield just in case.
There is no vision, there's no physical person that stands before you. There is a voice. Oh, don't be like that. We've saved you many times.
I've heard that before by other voices. Forgive me if I'm not trusting.
Understood. I have been instructed by the others that we are to trust you. Trust you with the story of our doom and what brought us to the place that we are, cursed, and yet ever trying to escape the punishment of the curse. We were a part of an ancient order of mages, entrusted with the study of the Midnight Citadel. But there were a select few of us who knew the true purpose. I am one of them, and for my knowledge, it cost me my eyes. Let me show you the part I played in this chapter. Suddenly, you both are no longer within the house. The sight that greets your eyes is truly, truly terrifying. The scene is that of a darkened, hellish battlefield, flames rising from the ground, casting long shadows over an individual walking through just mountains and mountains of corpses. A black-skinned individual with white hair with 6 horns upon their head, white eyes, with a massive sword at their side. As the battlefield around this lone figure smokes, he approaches what looks to be a massive throne. Vidil looks at the both of you, or he turns to the both of you, and with eyeless sockets, says to you, "Welcome to Nessus. Welcome to the throne of his lord, Asmodeus." On the throne, you see a massive devil, at least in his current form, sitting upon the throne with a massive rod of power. This towering demon prince that is approaching the throne seems to be crying and shaking with uncontrollable rage. His white eyes glint with fury and pain as he steps forward, his voice echoing like thunder across this plain battlefield, across this realm, across this hell. And he speaks with, at first, a controlled rage, the mixture of hatred and a deep, underlying sorrow. "I never wanted this. I never wanted to unleash my legions to drench these plains in war. But what choice did you leave me? Together, we imprisoned my mother, the Pale Knight. We could have built something. We could have built something greater. Something that would have challenged the other gods. But you betrayed me. You betrayed us all." You see his hands tighten into fists, his claws digging into his palms. "You stole power from the gods and lied to your children, to me." You see his chest sort of heave, each word, fury building like an inferno. "Mankind. This creation could have been our creation. These worlds, these planes, only have one chance to prosper, one chance to be free, to thrive, and if you will not seize it..." He straightens up to his full height, his voice rising to a roar that shakes the very ground beneath your feet. "Then I will." At this point, you see his wings unfurl,
casting a shadow across the smoldering battlefield, his voice thundering with fury and a righteous wrath. It's at this point that you see, across the space, a similar figure to the one that is standing next to you. You see Jaw's patron. Only this time you see him with eyes, standing next to the throne of Asmodeus. You see this figure, this demon prince. His wings unfurled, his voice rising, saying, "So let it be war. From the top of Mount Celestia to the bottom of the rings and levels of hell. Let the seas boil within the astral sea. Let the stars fall. Let the very heavens tremble before the storm that I bring. Though it takes the last drop of every demon in my command, every piece of my body, I will see this world freed, and I will see my mother set loose again. And if I cannot save you from your failure, Father, then let this world burn." At this moment, the whole image pauses. The whole scene pauses in front of you. And there I was, standing in the midst of a mistake. We traded knowledge. We traded for knowledge. And we were asked to perform a task, part of a agreement, contract, to help the Lord of the Nine Hells imprison a troublesome, powerful mistress. Someone who had birthed a potential rival. We deceived Prince Graz'zt for as long as we could, with no small amount of magic being used. For the longest time, he thought he was helping us unite the Hells under Asmodeus. But all that time, all that blood, all that war, all of those battles were solely for the reason of diverting his attention away from the true prize, that of his mother, who we knew was making designs upon the throne of Nessus, upon other children of Asmodeus, children who might hold a more legitimate claim to the throne, children who might unite the realms of Mount Celestia and the lowest portions of the Hells. I believe you've encountered one of these children. Goes by the name of Boop. Or at least that's what she calls herself now. Her real name is Lilith. And so I paid a terrible price. I hope you make wiser decisions, Jarl. But I think you might begin to see why we have yet
any reason to trust that you can pull this off.
What would you like me to say?
Give up the ring. Give it to someone else.
And why would I do that?
Find someone who's potentially more worthy.
Oh.
Ultimately, choice is yours.
You are actually Jal. You are going to hear a scoff beside you. Surprisingly, from no other than Ivar. As Ivar looks up at the scene and it just says, "You are in no position to judge anyone on worthiness. You weak-willed mage. Here you are, presenting to us a dark deal, and you talk about the sufferings you held because of it, yet you speak not of the suffering everyone else has had to suffer since you made this mistake. It is not Jal's worthiness that needs to be tested. It is yours. The ring needs no new bearer. The bearer just needs better allies within the ring. And if you have poured your magic and your cursed selves into it, only to doubt he who wields it, then I don't see a point of trying to aid in fixing something you have caused. So, perhaps, instead of being clever with your words, you can start actually being useful with your skill.
The scene before you fades. And so does the visage of the lone mage. There is a silence that stretches on. And again, Jal, you get the sense that there is an argument that is being had by the Order as they are debating amongst themselves. The Old One speaks a truth. We are not the best judges. We do not have any right to judge you, given that it is because of our mistake, because of our short-sightedness, that we find ourselves in this current position. For a time, we will continue to trust Jal Hord'n, bearer of the ring.
Are we both hearing it, or is it just Jal?
Just Jal.
I was gonna kind of nod along with that, kind of glance up at Ivar and just go,
Oh, hold on.
you did great, buddy.
We will go to Neska now. Neska, you are still in the gardens. Are you heading towards the smoke?
Mm-hmm.
You're still headed there? Okay. You make your way all the way through the gardens, past the Midnight Citadel into the Rainbow Crown. Making your way past a variety of different taverns and brothels,
The Rainbow Crown is in full swing, despite the loss of one of its main attractions, that of the Silk Sensations. As you approach the smoking hulk of this historic brothel, you see many people just sort of picking through the rubble. There are some mourners who are pulling bodies from the depths of the building. This music is way too cool for this scene. You see just there are some prostitutes who are currently we'll just actually forget prostitutes. Sex workers. There are currently sex workers who are picking through and hauling some of the bodies away and just mourning the loss of some dear friends. You see that there are actually a good number of people here just surrounding the building, sort of looking, picking through the wreckage, pulling what valuable things they can find.
Are they like just random people off the streets looking to make a quick grab and steal and benefit themselves from this tragedy, or are they the workers from the Silk Sensations trying to reclaim some of their possessions?
It looks like it could be both. It looks like some either former workers, or it looks like there could also be just denizens of the city who are just here because nobody else seems to be picking up after the mess that was created. And they're just picking through the wreckage, taking valuables, redistributing the wealth, basically.
Okay, so they're not like taking it maliciously for themselves, like they're taking it and like putting it aside for them to rebuild the Silk Sensations, or sorry, just trying to get a better...
No one's trying to be built. It looks like whatever happened here, it was last night.
Okay. So the people that are going through, workers and just normal citizens, they're all like putting in a community effort. They're all helping each other. I don't see any...
Give me a perception check.
Still at disadvantage. 11.
It's very difficult to tell. It looks like whatever the workers are doing, they are just sort of clearing away some of the burning debris away from the rest of the building, trying to get it isolated so that it doesn't continue to burn or doesn't endanger any of the other buildings around it. You do see that there are some other people who are just sort of sifting through the smoldering remains, pulling out, coins, gold. There's some people who, they see part of the burned down bar or one of the burned down bars that were contained within the Silk Sensations, and they're taking some of the high-end liqueurs that somehow managed to survive the flames. You see some people are just grabbing like bags of some of the bags of the foodstuffs that were left in the kitchen that weren't harmed by any of the heat.
That description tells me the flame started somewhere else and it was targeted.
You got an 11 on your perception check?
Yeah, that's probably Taylor speaking and piecing that together than Neska with that perception.
No. I'm asking you got 11?
Yeah, that was my perception, Neska's perception roll.
Okay. As you are sort of looking around, you see there is one figure who sort of stands out. And it's that of a blue-furred minotaur. And he is just standing, just very solemnly, sort of looking over the wreckage.
I don't recognize this minotaur.
No.
Okay, I'm going to go up to him quietly and stand beside watching what's going on. How many more are missing?
So many. So many. So many. You see him get very emotional.
There's so many
Place.
people here that are my friends who... Sorry, I've just lost a lot of people lately. Friends, acquaintances, people that I never thought that I would form any real attachment to, but then I did, and then they leave unexpectedly. But this is a heavy loss indeed. He looks at you, gives you a very quizzical look, because you are still wearing your mask. That is a very odd mask that you're wearing. Is that some sort of tribal mask? No. He looks very closely at you. Neska. Interesting. I do apologize, but I must say, the mask that you are wearing right now, it is a ornamental mask used for the disguise of oneself, usually while on operations. Am I to understand that?
How did you know it was a mask?
Sorry, I am a student of histories, of cultures, and I must say, I never expected to find one of you in Brecca, but to find one on, I'm assuming, some kind of a very important assignment, to find you all the way out here, this is truly remarkable. I'm sorry, my name is Professor Thaddeus. Shakes your hand. We truly, would you mind, this is a very sad and somber scene, and I would love to have a really decent conversation with you. You seem to be an incredibly interesting person, and I would love to hear potentially all of the stories that you might be able to share, at least if you're comfortable, about your people. I wish to learn so much. And currently my current studies are on hold. He gestures at the silk sensations. This used to be my...
On hold or up in smoke?
Both. This used to be a place that I would consider to be a refuge for me while I was studying and also teaching. I teach a school of magic here in the city. It was for young, talented individuals. And I was also in charge of a fairly sizable excavation in the desert, in the Candles. And unfortunately, my entire archaeological dig site was ambushed, and all of my friends were murdered.
I'm so sorry to hear that.
Oh, it's not your fault, is it? No. But I say all that to say, the pursuit of knowledge and the study of one such as yourself would be a great help and a massive distraction from just how sad I feel all the time now.
Help with your emotions, I believe is the word.
I wouldn't necessarily say it like that, but yes, I suppose. Yes, I suppose it would help my emotions quite a lot.
What else would it help?
I'm sure we'll find out. Do you want to accompany me?
Where to?
Oh, my school is located within the Shadow Way. It is not far from here. A little bit of a walk. Although I'm sure that we could get there much quicker if you would like.
How?
Try this on for size. And he casts Dimension Door on both of you.
Oh!
And you are transported across the city into the Shadow Way and arrive at the gates of a school.
Oh, I'm going to say I have a familiar mansion.
No, that's in the Amethyst Worm.
Yeah.
You see him say, "I'm sorry, I should have asked your consent first before I did that. Apologies." And he knocks on the gate of the school, and suddenly this small tabaxi lad suddenly peeks out from behind the gate. Says, "Oh, Professor Thaddeus, you're back. What was all the smoke that we saw from the roof?" We will not talk of it. It is too sad a story to tell. I did make a new friend, though. Chance, say hi to, and he looks awkwardly at you because he realizes he does not know your name.
Hi, Thonya.
A Bithonia or a Mythonia? Either way, it's going to sound like I have a lisp.
Pythonia. Like Python and Sonia. Pythonia.
Bithonia?
I didn't mean it like that. I'm so sorry. I was trying to combine a snake, like another snake thing, and a here. Oh no!
Turns out you just have a Cockney accent and you're telling somebody off. I'm sorry, what's your name? Patania.
Whoops!
Oh my god. That's a very strange name. He says, but I am sure that there is a very interesting story behind it, which I would love to hear. Wouldn't you, Chance? Oh yes, that would be lovely. Shall we invite our guest inside? Yes, Chance. After you, Pythonia.
How gracious.
You enter the gate of a school of magical learning in the Shadow Way within the city of Brecca. And you see, and I will say you may do this perception check, not at disadvantage.
Eight.
What's your passive perception?
13.
13? I will say, as you enter the gate, as you walk through underneath the arch, you see on the archway there is a symbol, a large one, an insignia. And for a brief moment, you recognize it. You've seen it before. That insignia is on Jal's ring, and that is where we will leave it for tonight.
That's awesome.
Full circle.
Neska, I need to meet your new friends. Need to make sure they're on the level.
Professor Thaddeus is present.
in Our Flag Means Doom.
Mhm.
He actually plays a significant part in several of those episodes. Thank you all for watching. Please tune in next time to see what befalls of poor Neska as she falls into the lap of Professor Thaddeus. He's a great guy. He's not the least bit threatening. He's kind of a dweeb, kind of a nerd. You guys are going to love him. Everyone else did. So yeah, we will see what happens to our survivors of Ashcaleen. We love you. We hope you have a great rest of your week. And may you roll nothing but nat 20s. Good night. Bye.